Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt City Podcast. Dave Palais, Josh Palais, Mario Heron, talking Charger football with you as we get ready for the next game, right? The first chance to get another win. I mean, this is the way it works right here. The team starts off 0-1. All of us a little bit banged up and bruised as far as sad that things didn't go the way we wanted in week one. Week two, the team travels on the road to face the Tennessee Titans. And we start looking just like we normally do during week 16 or 17. You're going, all right, how are we hanging in there with injuries? And right now, injuries are the topic of conversation, Mario. One of the things that the three of us have put back and forth on, and you have an update on what's going on with Austin Ekeler.
Yeah, so for people that don't know, Ekler got hurt last Sunday in our loss, and then he has not practiced on Wednesday, has not practiced on Thursday. Kept up his media appearances, though. So it's going into Friday. We'll see if he practices. I mean, Friday's usually like walk through. It's piece of cake practice. So we'll see if he practices then. I imagine it's probably going to be a game time decision. Right now, his status is questionable. Kendricks also did not practice today. He did practice yesterday, however. And then Dave's best friend, Joey Bosa, did some run work on the side, but did not practice yesterday. So we'll watch that for that as well. Joey Bosa got hurt late in the fourth quarter. And then on the other side, DeAndre Hopkins did not practice for the Titans, nursing an ankle injury. But we said this before the show. It's the grand opening for the Titans season in the home stadium, so he'll probably play.
Yeah, so out of all the injuries you just said, the biggest one for me, and I know Austin Ekeler's, my opinion, right there is the top running back in the league. Joey Bosa is supposed to be a great defensive player. DeAndre Hopkins not playing for the Titans is the biggest thing ever for the Titans. And you'd say Derrick Henry's the biggest thing ever. Well, the Titans can't throw the ball, and DeAndre Hopkins is still one of the best receivers in the league. You take him out of the game, holy crap, the Chargers should really, really win this game by a lot of points. Every time I say that, it never happens, by the way. But DeAndre Hopkins, ever. DeAndre Hopkins not playing for the Titans, if that actually happens, is huge.
It's a big deal. I mean, look, Tannehill looked worse than he's ever looked in the first game for the Titans against the Saints. He threw 3 interceptions. And you know what? For the first time in a while, Tannehill, you can argue, has some receivers. You know, he has some guys. He has actually balance on both sides of the ball. And he looked absolutely awful. I mean, to make Derek Carr look like the better quarterback at any time is saying a lot. And Tannehill was a huge disappointment. And Derrick Henry didn't do anything in the first game either. Focusing on what the Chargers have, though, real quick, the Titans, as we said, this is their home opener, Mario. You just said it. For Titan fans, no one's expecting the Titans in Nashville to go to the Super Bowl, but they are excited about Titan football. Number one, there's going to be a brand new field. Shocking. It's going to be a turf field. People are really upset by it. Derrick Henry hates the fact that it's a turf field. But you know what? We're going to get more into the whole thing of what's going on with the Jets and the NFL right now. But it's week one for your season ticket holders. That Tennessee already announced the plans for a brand new stadium and why they're going to host Super Bowls and national championship games. Football is always a big deal in the South. You know, I lived there for 9 years. Josh lives there now. People are excited about the NFL and the start of the season for the Chargers coming to town. Let's go to Joey Bosa because it's low-hanging fruit. All right. When I saw that Joey Bosa wasn't able to play or wasn't able to practice this week, first thing in my mind was, oh, no. What are we going to do with only one tackle and a huge penalty? You know, man, it's really going to hurt us if he's not able to go on Sunday because, man, he has been the biggest damn disappointment for the longest time. And when you look at a lot of bad contracts through the NFL and through pro sports, you could throw Joey Bosa's right in there. He makes $27 million a year. Complete joke in the playoffs against Jacksonville. Complete missing in action guy for the Dolphins. I mean, I swear, I went this morning, I went to the refrigerator and I grabbed a milk carton right on the front, missing Joey Bosa. Hasn't been seen for 9 months. And you know what? Last year, he wasn't there for the team either. And I don't know why they extended him. I wish they would have traded him beforehand. And right now, everything I've said where everybody jumps me for getting on Joey Bosa, he is not what you thought you were getting. And he has been a complete disappointment. The thing that hurts him more than anything is that there's a guy in the NFL that shares his last name that he's related to, that's his little brother, that is so much better than him. It's embarrassing. And so the fact that, oh, I can't practice, okay, whatever, man. We don't need you. We aren't going to miss your one tackle. You've been a huge disappointment, Joey. You're all hype.
All right, Mario.
Go ahead, Josh. No, go ahead.
Joey Bosa. Now, because everybody likes to talk about the money, so we'll talk about the money. Joey Bosa is the 4th highest paid defensive player in the league. The 3 guys ahead of him, his brother, number 1, Nick Bosa, huge victory, killed the Steelers. Aaron Donald, number 2, he had a sack in the game. They beat the crap out of the Seahawks. At number 3, TJ Watt, he lost, but he had 3 sacks. He lived up to his contract. Then you have Joey Bosa at number 4, who had 1 tackle, like Dave said. What are we doing? What's the expectation here? Is it Brandon Staley's fault? Everybody wants to talk about how everything's Brandon Staley's fault. Well, Brandon Staley doesn't have a helmet on, and I'll give him a break for once on this show. He's not the one lining up at defensive end, trying to make sacks, trying to make tackles. Joey Bosa needs to do his job, man. Who's holding him accountable? Is Derwin James holding him accountable? He's younger than Joey Bosa. He's supposed to be the leader of the defense. I don't think it's Derwin James' fault, but is anybody holding him accountable, or the coach is holding him accountable? Because it seems like nobody is, going to Joey saying, "Hey, buddy, you're supposed to be Joey Bosa. You're supposed to make a lot of plays out here. What are you doing?"
It's hard to kind of vouch for him anymore, right? Like, just his play has just been awful, and the availability side of it's also just really, really tough. You can't yell at someone for being injured, but you can yell at someone for their effort, yell at someone for their play when they're able to play and are on the field. Joey Bosa just has not been that. He hasn't reached up to any hype at all since the contract has signed, and I don't think that's a hot take. We've all seen it. Dave's been preaching it for a while. Josh has been seeing it for a while. I'm just kind of hopping on the train saying, choo, choo, choo. Yeah, Bosa's not very good. You mentioned those other guys that are paid, and he's just in that same group. I mean, those guys are game changers. And like we've mentioned multiple times. Like they changed the game. Geno Smith was literally like, there's a mic'd up of him being like, oh crap, like Aaron Donald's coming. Tua wasn't saying, oh crap, Bosa's coming. Like Mahomes doesn't say, oh crap, Bosa's coming. Like, no one does that. So it's a tough thing. I bet he plays. I mean, I guess the side work, imagine he plays. I just want to see something from him, get a sack, do something, cause a little bit of terror. The Ekler injury thing to me is all like not that surprising just because of how available he was the past 2 years and the damage he's kind of taken in the miles on him. He was due for a little bit of a hiccup in terms of health wise. Eric Kendricks, I am expecting to play. Just don't worry about that. But the Bosa thing, I think he's one of the biggest guys to watch this week, man. He needs a big bounce back game against his Titans in week 2.
Real quick, one more thing about Bosa, not to just keep harping on him. Josh, you just brought up a really good point, in my opinion. If Joey Bosa is not doing what's expected and not living up to his contract, and you guys say who's holding him accountable, dude, I don't know who is. Like, honestly, God, he's a big monster guy. I talk a lot of trash, but I mean, he's a big dude. And you go, well, who would hold him accountable? Staley's not going to do it. I don't know anyone on that team. The only guy I can think of in my mind to maybe say, hey, Joey, you can do more is Khalil Mack, because he has done more. Khalil Mack has had a better NFL career, but there's no one in that locker room that could go to Joey's face and say, I've played a position. I've walked in your shoes. I know what it's like to have all the attention on you. I know what it's like when money's attached to your name, except for Khalil Mack. But Khalil Mack is, he's old man River. And that's kind of what Bosa could say right back to him. I don't see you doing anything on the other side either. But that's not the excuse. That's not good enough. The guys you just mentioned, Josh, all make plays every single game. We spoke about this a week ago. Quarterbacks that walk to the line and go, where is that guy lined up? Like Derwin James is that guy on the Chargers, where the quarterback goes, where's number 3? And Lawrence Taylor used to be that guy. Aaron Donald's that guy. Aaron Donald won the Super Bowl for the Rams, if you remember, against the Bengals.
Yeah.
On 3rd down and 4th down by himself. He was like, this is everything I got. I got to win this game by myself. And he did on 2 consecutive plays and won the Super Bowl. Big time players make big time plays. And you know what? They show up, as they say in baseball, they post every day. And so when Bosa got hurt last year, I hate to say it, I called it on the show. He will sit out until the team has a chance of making the postseason. Then all of a sudden you're going to see Joey. And that's exactly what happened. I don't know how much this game means to Joey. He can say whatever he wants. He hasn't shown me anything in years that I'm going, he's the right guy for this team to make a difference. And $27 million, he's guys wearing a mask on Fridays when he picks up his check because he's stealing money.
All right, let's transition to Brandon Staley. There's been so much hate. I'll just use hate. Honestly, there's real hate coming from Brandon Staley from all angles. Even people that are not Charger fans are talking about how he is not the coach for the Chargers. He is wasting everybody's time. This is the 3rd year he's been the head coach of the Chargers. If they can't pick up his defense by now, I don't think it will ever happen. Dave believes, and I think he's absolutely nuts for this, but it could happen, I guess, that he's not going to make it through September. Do you think Brandon Staley, let's say the Chargers go 0-3, do you think he doesn't make it out of September?
I think he makes it all the way through no matter what. I just don't think it's in their I just don't think it's their stuff to fire a guy mid-year. And I think they're going to go, look, we'll just stay through it. Remember last year when it started rough and then they kind of put it together late in the year? I think that's what they'll do. if they do start 0-3, life's not going to get any easier. And it's going to be one of those things with, let's see how many stories comes out, right? Like, how fast does it come out that he lost a locker room? How fast does it come out that him and Ekler aren't seeing eye to eye? Him and Mac aren't seeing eye to eye. During James, like, just little stuff like that. Keep a big eye out for. A coordinator getting fired. The defensive coordinator gets fired in those daily calls the plays. That's a good head coaching, save your job a little bit, right? We let go of the linebackers coach. We let go of the defensive coordinator. Like stuff like that. I would see that more happening than Staley going bye-bye. I do think, though, they go 0-3 and they flirt with not making the playoffs and or not make the playoffs. Staley's looking for a new job, and his house is up for sale in L.A.
Okay. So here's the deal for me with Staley. And I'm telling you, as Charger fans, I say this all the time. In sports, sometimes you have to demand more. Who's letting you down? If you have the right pieces, who's letting you down? Why aren't you getting the job done? I understand it's only one game against the Dolphins. That was a game, though, you're supposed to win because, again, it was a home game against a quality team, but you're a quality team. You're supposed to be that playoff team that makes the move. You're supposed to do what the Dolphins did and finish on the right side of the scoreboard. So you're disappointed there. You're disappointed in year one because he was, crazy gambler, Staley. He was, someone said to me today, he was a huge Charger fan, season ticket holder. What happened to the guy that used to put his junk on the table? I go, he was a dumb guy back then too. You just thought it was cool because you never seen it before. Those were dumb moves. Those were moves that cost you victories, cost you a chance against the Chiefs because you went nuts in a primetime game. So literally. So then when you go overall, of where Staley is now, he loses that game to the Dolphins. That's one check, Mario. For some reason, things don't go well on Sunday for the Titans. Boy, I'm telling you, there should be talk about replacing him right then. And especially if they go 0-3 and they lose to the Vikings, he has to go. He can't make it through the month. For him to say, or the organization, we're going to fire the defensive coordinator, that's such a garbage move. I hate that move in sports more than anything, where that guy has very little to do with what the defense is doing. Staley is supposed to be the genius. And it frustrates me to go that route. I was saying to Josh today, the perfect move for the Chargers is Kellen Moore. You just name him offensive coordinator, head coach. And guess what? If Kellen Moore's good at it and you get results, now you do have your new head coach. But if he's not good at it, you get a trial period with a guy that a lot of people think is going to be offered a head coaching job. The only thing is you get a real look at him to see what he can do. If this team goes 0-3 to start the season, it's over, man. It is straight out over. Teams go 0-3. This Charger team's going to completely cash it in and go, what's the point? Eckler's going to say, my ankle does hurt too much to actually play.
Oh, boy. If the Chargers lose this next game, which I really think they're going to win. Well, I always think that. But let's say the Chargers do lose. There's a really good chance tonight that the Vikings lose at Philadelphia. It could be a matchup of two 0-2 teams next week where you have to win. You have to win that game. And the game is in Minnesota. Okay. So you could be in a really, really bad position if you're the Chargers, if you lose this game against the Titans. People are saying that Brandon Staley's defensive duties are taking away from his head coaching duties and vice versa. He can't give everything in both departments. He's just split down the middle. I don't buy that for a second. I think you see guys all the time like Bill Belichick and Nick Saban who can run a defense and they can be great head coaches. You can do both. Mike Tomlin is very involved with the defense and he's a great head coach. Mike Vrabel is very involved with the defense and he's a great head coach. Don't give me that crap. Another thing that people are saying that is defense is too complicated. How is that possible? You're 3 years into this. It cannot be that complicated to learn a defense. You either cover Tyreek Hill or you don't, and that's it. The Dolphins' clear game plan was to let the Chargers run the ball because they haven't proven it. Well, they did run the ball, right? We just didn't execute on the pass. How is your game plan as a defensive coach not to let them run the ball and not let them run the ball and don't let Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Tua beat you? Jalen Waddle was banged up going to this game. That's the guy you go one-on-one coverage with. He was not 100%, but yet we're going to give Tyreek Hill all day to run. And not only was Tyreek Hill open, he was open by 30 yards. What part of the defensive playbook is that? We're going to let number 10 get open by 30 yards on every opportunity. I don't understand the mindset of the defense, why we're not making plays, and why we have guys like Kenneth Murray in the game. Brandon Staley was praising Kenneth Murray after the game. Are we watching the same football game? Is Kenneth Murray the same guy that you're talking about? Because the guy that I'm watching is not making plays. He's constantly overrunning the play. Oh, he's so fast, right? Yeah, he's so fast. He's overrunning the play, and then he's not making the tackle. So why are we praising a guy like that? Is that the standard of the defense, a guy that can run really fast but not make plays? I'm completely confused about the mindset of the whole defense.
Yeah, it's confusing. It's bad. It's ugly. I don't want to see it anymore. But you mentioned it. They can bounce back this week. Looking at this Titans team, like the Dolphins was bad, and maybe don't put an outside linebacker on Tyreek Hill and have them blitz right after it. Maybe that's a pretty stupid thing to do. I don't know, just me. But this week, I think they can really bounce back because we got, instead of Tua, who has something to prove with a genius of an offensive mind behind him and Daniels, we have the Titans. Vrabel, who's smart, but more smart on the defensive side of the ball, unless the offensive side. You have Tannehill instead of Tua, who just threw 3 picks against the Saints defense and looked like a high school quarterback out there. Their backup is not even Levis right now, because Levis is injured. I don't even know if he's going to be active for this game. So it's, what's his name?
Malik
Willis. Yeah. Please throw him out there. That'd be great. Derrick Henry did it. They barely played in the fourth quarter, and he barely saw any snaps. And then there's a third down problem where he wasn't in a lot of third down. So what does that tell you there? I mean, he could be hurt. So I think right now this is the most perfect team for him to play. Go ahead, Dave.
I just want to go real quick before I jump into the Titans. I want just one thing Josh said about Kenneth Murray. What was the point of him coming out, meaning Staley coming out and saying nice things about Kenneth Murray? Because you're lying to the guys in the locker room. They know Kenneth Murray's not playing. They're watching the tape of that game over and over. You're lying to the fans. You're lying to everybody about Kenneth Murray. The only person you're making feel good about your comments is Kenneth Murray. Why do you have to sit? And his mother. Why is
his mom likes that?
Yeah.
Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to come out and be a liar? To me, you lose credibility. And when Austin Ekeler comes out and he rips the coaching staff, I believe that's one of the reasons that he said, oh, you got to be kidding me. What are we doing here? Who's leading the ship? And this guy's lying? Like, do you not know football well enough to know that this guy is letting us down? We called it before the season began. This is not like the Kenneth Murray show. Nobody expected Kenneth Murray to be great against the Dolphins. His name would not have come up today if it wasn't for Staley just lying to all of us. We aren't dumb, man. We watched the game. We've watched him for years. But now you're going to sit and tell us that he's an all-pro player and what a great game he played? He didn't. The teammates know that. The fans know that. You don't win any points at all except with one family, and that's the Murray family, by your comments. That made zero sense to me that the wrong guy is leading this team. I'm done with Staley.
I just don't think it's in the Chargers' makeup to have Kellen Moore be an interim head coach and be the offensive coordinator. I think their big issue right now is what I just said. Brandon Staley's calling the defense and trying to be the head coach at the same time. I've talked about it 2 shows ago. Derek Ansley, the defensive coordinator, has no history of being a defensive coordinator. I don't think it would be any better with him, to be honest with you. If you want somebody to step in to be a head coach and Brandon Staley can call his defense, I'd almost take that. It's definitely not going to happen, obviously. But like Dave said, we just have the wrong guy in place. I don't even know what you do if you're the Chargers, because Kellen Moore, I do not think, like I just said, is going to be the interim head coach. There's nobody on the staff I have any faith in to actually be a head coach that's not named Kellen Moore. It's a big mess. It's a huge mess. And this game against the Titans is not going to be as easy as people think it is. This Titans team has a terrible, terrible quarterback. I understand. Their defensive line was awesome. That game was ugly, but their defensive line made it ugly. They were great. They were all over Derek Carr. They made it really difficult on him. And the Chargers have a true test to project Justin Herbert this week.
It is a test. This could be a big Staley gets exposed even more game, right? Like if Vrabel can come out there and put together a really solid game plan and the Titans come out on top, I think that will go back to, look, you just got out coached in every single way possible. I mean, every single way possible you got out coached. But I'm going to try to stay positive. We're going to try to stay positive. And the positive I'll go with this is that the Tennessee Titans last week let Derek Carr go 23 of 33 for 305 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. They let Chris Olave go for 8 receptions for 112 yards. Their current stats are 25th in dropback EPA. They're 25th in defensive EPA. They're 28th in passing yards allowed and 29th in opponent yards per pass attempt. Now, that's all just god-awful. I mean, I can crap and do better than that. And if you think that this was just like a one-time experiment from like one game and they just got exposed a little bit, no. From last year, they were 28th in opponent yards per pass attempt. They were dead last in passing yards allowed. This secondary blows. I said it last time. They blow more than Nancy Reagan did in the 70s. I mean, they just suck. So this is a chance for Kellen Moore to look at Justin Herbert and go, look, we're going to unlock you. You're going to get unlocked. You're going to start playing really, really well. We're going to push the ball downfield. Kellen Moore, this is going to be one of those career day for yous. Mike Williams, you're going to get involved a lot. There's a prop right now out for Herbert over 279.5 passing yards. I would hammer that and smoke that every single day of the week. I mean, I think the Chargers are going to throw all day on them. I mean, they don't have – Eckler's not there. They don't have to run the ball. They shouldn't run the ball because that's the Titans' only thing they can stop. Throw it in the air. It's air raid all day. Air, passing, pass until you die.
All right. So when you look at the two rosters, all right, because I think I'm a big Mike Vrabel fan. I think he's a great head coach. I think he has a horrible roster. I mean, they're the big names of people that don't follow Titan football, have no idea. The Titans have a couple superstars that any team in the NFL would love to have. Everybody would love to have Derrick Henry. Everybody, you say what you want. Hopkins can still play, still look good when against the Saints. Jeffrey Simmons is one of the best players in the NFL, number 98, obviously for the Titans. You're going to see him. You're going to hate him just like you hate Max Crosby for the Raiders, but he's an outstanding player. The rest of the roster is really bad. It's not a very good roster. It's a very good, well-coached team, not a very good roster. The Titans are trying to retool. It's not in good shape, and starts with Ryan Tannehill, is one of the used to be a C quarterback in my opinion. Now I believe he's honestly a D. He's one of the worst 10 quarterbacks in the league. For the Chargers roster, my opinion, offense is an A+. They got an A+ roster on the offensive side. Outside of the Miami Dolphins, you don't see too many teams that have the weapons that the Chargers have. Offensive line is healthy at this point of the season. The wide receivers are dangerous. Tight end is serviceable. The running backs are insane. I mean, look at the running situation. We never thought we'd say this. The number 3 running back in the NFL and the number 5 running back in the NFL are both Chargers. Kind of crazy that's where the Chargers are. So the Chargers offense can almost do whatever they want, except, the last drive of the game against the Dolphins. The defense, though, is not an A roster, right? The defense is probably C- D roster. Reminds me a lot of what Charger football was 40 years ago. Either way, when you look at talent for talent, the Chargers should go in and have zero problems taking on a horrible Tennessee Titans team. And Josh, you tell me if I'm wrong on that. But the deal is, the thing that changes that up right there, I think, is the coaching and the scheme. And I am curious about this, and you can say if I'm wrong or not. I know East Coast games, meaning let's say when the Chargers played the Jets, they would leave like a day early, for the time change, for a 3-hour time change. For a game in the Central Division, or Central Time, I should say, Nashville's only 2 hours ahead of Los Angeles. I don't know when the Chargers leave. I mean, it's a big deal if you leave on Friday or if you leave on Saturday. You leave on Friday, you lose a day of practice. All of a sudden, it's another day to prepare. Remember, Tuesday is an off day in the NFL, so you have Tuesday off, and if you have Friday off, I don't know when the Chargers leave, but that concerns me too. If they leave on Friday, you lose a day of practice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really torn with everything you just said, because how much should I buy into week 1? Is it an outlier? We played against a really, really good Dolphins team. The Titans played against a Saints team that nobody knows what they are. What team really showed up is my question between the Chargers and the Titans, because the Titans defensive line was really good. I don't even know, besides Jeffrey Simmons, if their defensive line is that good. Well, our strength, I think, as a team is our offensive line, shockingly, because we always have so many issues with the offensive line. I like that matchup. We also faced Tua, who had a career day against us. And then Ryan Tannehill, we play this week, who had the worst game of his career. So which one is it? I really am curious. Week 2, I think, is the best week because you can really see what these teams are. The Chargers are in a great position. Chargers are in a really, really good position. The Titans' offensive line is not good. This is the game that Joey Bosa needs to step up and do something. The Chargers shouldn't have issues. But the thing is, the Titans are not a rollover team, and they've proven that for the last few years. Mike Vrabel never gets blown out. So if you're, as a Charger fan, if you think this is going to be a blowout, I think you're completely wrong. This is going to be one of those games that comes down to the end. And but I do like the Chargers' chances. I think we're strong in all the areas that they are weak, and that's obviously a benefit for us.
I think that's perfectly put. We're strong in all the areas that they are weak. We're strong in the passing. They are not. We are strong. We're supposed to be strong in defending the pass, but we do not look like that in week 1. This might be a good concern game, right? Like when we get together on Sunday night and we do a pod, it's like I don't think we'll be as concerned if Tannehill, let's just say, throws for 200 yards, gets picked off once. I'll give him a passing touchdown. Not big concern. Hopkins doesn't play. That's not that big concern. But let's say Tannehill, 2 touchdowns, 240 yards. 240 yards. That's a huge concern because that's now back-to-back weeks where your secondary is getting cooked. And not only got cooked, but got cooked by a guy that's a top 10 quarterback in the league with question marks. And then a guy that's probably not even top 15, pushing top 20 quarterback in the league. And he did a lot of damage to you. Oh, also, let's just say Hopkins doesn't play. He did that without Hopkins. So he did that with Burks. Traylon Burks is his number one wideout. That's embarrassing. So it could be a huge concern game on the defensive side. Offensive side, I'm just really not worried at all. Like I'm so not worried about it. If Ekler plays, fantastic. If not, like I really do think this is just a air raid game. I'm very high on the offensive side of the football, just in terms of defensively. How embarrassed are we going to look? So that's it.
Yeah, no, it's again, right now, as upset as I am because of the stuff that has come out this week, Austin Ekeler kind of put me in a whole different mood. I mean, I was really ready to put the Dolphins game behind us, that it happens, and then move forward and say that Viking team's not very good. The Titans team's not very good. This team should be 2-1 after 3 weeks. When Austin Ekeler, who's part of the team and obviously is very vocal, and he calls out the coaching staff, that's concerning. You know, that's concerning that here's a team leader that's one of the best players in the NFL saying, hey, the issue is, the players aren't exactly doing their job, but the coaches aren't putting us in a position to do our job. That's worrisome. And that right there kind of frustrated me. Not upset with Austin Ekeler, but the fact it's everything that's our worst nightmare of what we thought it was.
Football is a really hard game to watch when your one side of the ball is great and the other side is terrible, right? The Charger game is so fun when the Chargers have the ball. Then you want to punch somebody when they're on defense. It's hard to watch them play. Seriously, last week was such a roller coaster of emotions. Great if you weren't a fan of either team, just touchdown. Mario talked about before the season. I want to revisit it. He said we are going to see the cornerback that J.C. Jackson is at the very beginning of the season, and he's right. If DeAndre Hopkins plays, he's going to have Tyreek Hill, he's going to have DeAndre Hopkins, he's going to have Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, C.D. Lamb. What kind of player are you? Those are all top 10 receivers, in my opinion. He needs to show up. This is the game for J.C. Jackson to see what he is. If he does not perform well this weekend, let's put Asante Samuel Jr. back out there. We know he's better than he is already. And let's see, let's move forward, because this J.C. Jackson thing needs to be over if he doesn't perform this weekend. Nobody else wants to deal with this anymore. Just cut ties. They did it with Jerry Tillery. They said he's not the player that we thought he was. J.C. Jackson, same thing. Let's just cut ties. Let's move forward if he can't perform this weekend, because this is a playoff team. We don't have to stick around and watch this BS. Just like Brandon Staley. That's why we might cut ties with him too, because this is a playoff team. Don't waste our time. We don't want to deal with this anymore if we believe we have the talent to go into the playoffs and we have to deal with this crap. One more thing I'll say about Joey Bosa before we move on. Andre Dillard is the left tackle for the Titans. He is the brand new left tackle for the Titans. He had a really, really bad game against the Saints. Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa need to combine for 3 sacks or more. They absolutely need to combine for 3 sacks or more. The offensive line for the Titans is not very good. They need to take advantage.
No, very young. Yeah, very young and inexperienced. All right, let's get to the fun part. Let's pick some games. Let's get healthy here. A lot of people struggled on week 1.
Yeah.
You ready? Start with Thursday night, Mario.
We're going right away? We're not going to tease it? Okay.
I didn't know we were teasing. I thought we were just going right into our picks.
Well, all right, let's do final predictions for Chargers Titans, and then we'll go into our picks. How about that?
Save Chargers Titans for last. Let's keep the audience going. If you do Chargers Titans, people are going to turn off the show.
I agree. I'm with you. Hey, you run the show, baby. I just catch the checks. All right.
Hey, when Casey Kasem does the top 40, he doesn't give you number 1 first, right? He counts it down. That's where we're going.
That's pretty fair.
Okay.
That's funny enough. The Sunday show where we do rankings, we always went 1 first, and someone pointed that out to me like midway through the summer. Like, hey, by the way, you guys are kind of dumb for going 1 first. And I said, yeah, you got a point. All right. Let's start with Thursday Night Football, gentlemen. Thursday Night Football, we have Eagles take on the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota, the Lions moved a little bit, gentlemen. They were at first at minus. They were +7, and then now it's down to 6. So Eagles or Vikings? Eagles favored -6, over under 48.5.
I like the Vikings to cover. I think 6 is too much. The Eagles didn't look good at all against the Patriots.
Interesting game. I tell you what, I'm really excited about this game. Like these are what should be two playoff teams, correct? Neither quarterback played very well in week one. I think the most shocking game of the week was the fact that the Buccaneers were able to go to Minnesota and pull off a win. At the same time, the Patriots are a weird team with their magic and what they do to upset really good teams. We've seen it before, and maybe that's why the Eagles didn't look ready to go. Eagles home game, primetime game. Jalen Hurts wants to prove why he obviously got the big time money. I'm going to go opposite of Josh. I'm going to go Eagles cover in this game.
I'm going Eagles as well. There's some injuries in that Eagles secondary that's kind of worrisome, and that's obviously not the best when you have probably facing the best receiver in the league. At the same time, it's Kirk Cousins in prime time, and that defense is pitiful, and they're going to get ran all over by the Eagles. So
I like the over in this game, by the way. We never talk over, but I do
over
like
48.5.
Yep.
I might dance with the devil with it. I'll take the devil on the date. All right. Next one, actually, funny enough, we'll skip it because it's Chargers Titans. So we'll skip it, and then we're going to save that one for later. Packers Falcons. Falcons minus 1.5 point favorite. Over-under is 40. This is in Atlanta. So Arthur Smith takes on Matt LaFleur. 12 p.m. Central Time. What do you guys think?
But you go. Two guys who are former Titan offensive coordinators right there. I'll go first this one, Josh. We'll just go fast. I have zero faith in the Green Bay Packers. I don't think the Packers are the real deal at all. They just played a pitiful team in week one, and I'm going the Atlanta Falcons. But I will say this. Anytime I've bet Falcons in my life, I've lost every single time.
I agree with Dave. I think the Packers game against the Bears is an outlier. Bears are so freaking terrible that game doesn't count. Jordan, you can't tell me Jordan Love's going to ball out twice in a row. I just don't think it's going to happen. Falcons have a pretty good team besides the quarterback. I like the Falcons to cover.
God, we're all different in this. Hallis Hall, by the way, is a complete disaster right now for people that are wondering. I got Falcons. I'm not Falcons. I got Packers in this. As terrible as I want to punch myself in the face for saying it. The front seven's tough. I think they're going to make Brady throw the ball a little bit more. I like the Packers to at least cover.
By the way, that's the only game in NFL history between the Packers and Falcons where nobody in the stands is going to be wearing a jersey that has the quarterback's number on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fair point.
It's a lot of guts to go buy one of those guys' jerseys and think they're the future.
This next game, if it's on your TV, I'm sorry. Colts Texans. Texans just minus 1 point favorite.
What's the deal with the Colts facing two teams inside the division back-to-back weeks?
It's weird.
I know.
Wild.
It's pretty nice though.
And the game's in Houston, you said?
In Houston.
All right, go ahead, Mario. You pick first since Josh and I already did the first picks.
I got Colts in this one just because I think the Colts have a little bit more talent, and I think Shane Steichen's actually a better coach than people think. It's a barely though. Like I'm gonna just PSA, don't bet on this in any single fashion. Don't make yourself watch this. Even if you have fantasy, just sell the players on the team. This game's gonna suck.
This game is gonna suck.
Worst game of the weekend. I thought the Colts looked better than I imagined. Anthony Richardson's better than I thought he was after one game. Overreaction. I like the Colts.
No, I'm gonna go other side. I'm just gonna go CJ Stroud shocked me. Same with Anthony Richardson. Two rookie quarterbacks in the same division. Just because it's a home game for Houston, I'm gonna go with the Texans.
A lot of hot takes gonna come out of that game, by the way. And if you're a Houston Indy person. Wow, this number was 5.5, not down to I'm sorry, was that 6 at 1.5.5, not 4.5. Lions 4.5 point favorite over the Seahawks in Detroit. Do the Seahawks bounce back? Josh Pele, what do you think?
High scoring game. I think the Seahawks bounce back. I like the Seahawks to cover.
Yeah, I might have to sit there and change what I just said a second ago at the most surprising win. It might have been the Rams beating the Seahawks in Seattle. That was nuts. I didn't see that coming at all. I'm going to go with boy, this is a tough game. 4. I'm gonna go Lions. I'm gonna go Lions. Lions have had 10 days to prepare for this game.
I'm with you, Dave. I'm taking Lions. The Seahawks have a good amount of injuries in their secondary. Mini bye and Lions at home. By the way, big Lions comeback game. I bet they get down a little bit, and then I bet they come back, and it's just let's fall in love.
When they're 2-0.
Yeah,
Lions
2-0.
2-0.
Another game where I'm gonna watch, but I'm mad I watched, and I hope everyone doesn't put it on their TV. Bears versus Buccaneers. Buccaneers 2.5-point favorite.
I think it's the biggest lock of the whole weekend.
Me too.
I like the Bucks. Bears are awful. Just that's all I have to say. Bucks.
Yeah, well, I'll shorten the time. Same thing. I think it's the biggest lock of the week.
If you can find Vita Vea, I'm gonna actually look. No, it's not up yet. Vita Vea to get a sack, or if you can find 3+ sacks, I would smack that like it's my mama. And I don't smack my mama. I love her. Never have. Bad choice words, but I would. Vita Vea is gonna probably sack Justin Fields at least 3 times in this game. Like the Bears line, it's sandpaper. Go right through. All right, let's move on to the next one because that game blows. Raiders Bills in the division. Bills -8.5 against the Las Vegas Raiders. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Josh.
I like the Raiders, and I hate to say that. I think the Bills are the biggest pretenders in the NFL, and I think the Raiders are not as bad as people thought they were, including myself. The Raiders' defense was better than I imagined, and the Bills are not that good. I really think the Bills are not that good.
I saw the craziest stat today when it came to Raider football, and it was the first time since 2000 that the Raiders held on to a lead in basically in 23 seasons when they had 5 minutes remaining. Like the Raiders had the lead, and then Denver wasn't able to score and take the lead to win the game. And you're going, okay, what is the difference? Are people buying in? Is it the Jimmy G factor? As much as we goof on that, again, he wins 70% of his games. 9 points in the NFL is a lot. I think Buffalo has a lot to prove. I think Buffalo wins the game, but I don't think they beat the Raiders by more than 9. Going Raiders.
I'm going Raiders too. I think Buffalo wins by 8.5. See that. There's no shot. Bills gave up 172 rushing yards to the Jets. That O-line sucks. Nice running back room, but Josh Jacobs is going to laugh to the bank. Smack is over in rushing yards. I do not know what it is right now, but Josh Jacobs over in rushing yards in that game. I'd parlay that with the Raiders plus 8.5 and laugh yourself to the bank. But if it's wrong, cry. Chiefs -3.5-point favorite over the Jaguars. Sin Jacksonville. #Duval. Rematch. AFC division. What do you think?
I'll go first. Jaguars to cover. I don't think the Chiefs are very good right now when they're not at full strength. Jaguars at home. I don't think the Jaguars look very good against the Colts, but they did look good at certain points where you remember that the Jaguars are still a playoff team. Calvin Ridley is every bit as good as any receiver in the league, and I really mean that. I think Calvin Ridley is so freaking good, and the fact that he's paired with Trevor Lawrence is scary. I like the Jaguars to cover.
Yeah, Ridley might be the best route runner in the NFL. I mean, he had a fantastic game, had to sit out all last year. Kelsey, if I'm not mistaken, is supposed to play. Am I right, Mario?
Yeah, it's like the feeling around that he's supposed to play. And Chris Jones is back in this game as well.
And Chris Jones is back as well. I'm going to the Chiefs. And the main reason than anything else that I just asked you about injuries and Chris Jones is the fact Andy Reid's had 10 days to prepare. And I don't see the Chiefs starting 0-2. I think they're going to make a statement.
I'm with you, Dave. You get your 2 out of your 3 best players back. You're pissed off. And the Jaguars let AR go for 223 yards, a touchdown, and 24 of 37. So
I'm add one thing.
Okay.
Chris Jones is only good in the second half. Or he's great all year. He's really good in the second half of the season. I don't think it's gonna be the same Chris Jones.
That's fair. He's gonna be out. He will be out of shape, and he won't play all of the snaps he usually plays.
It's not gonna be the same Chris Jones. Yep.
Yeah. I will agree. That's like a little worrisome. All right, on the next one. Ravens. Bengals 3.5-point favorite over the Baltimore Ravens in Cincy. What do we think?
I'll go first in this one. I already know Mario was not going to pick the Ravens, but I'm going to pick the Ravens. I'm going to go the Ravens. I don't think Joe Burrow is healthy. There's not a healthy quarterback in the NFL that only throws for 82 yards. I don't care what that quarterback is. I've never seen that in today's day and age where it's meant for a passing league, and yet one of the best passers in the NFL only throws for 82 yards. I believe Joe Burrow is still banged up. I believe there's something wrong with that calf. I'll take it back a few years ago where I pulled my hamstring and it really affected me in that Turkey Bowl game where I realized I lost a little bit of touch. And I think Joe Burrow is going through the exact same thing. So being in his shoes, I think he's going to struggle, and I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Yeah, so you're an idiot. I want to go with the Ravens.
I had a straight face it the whole time, but I couldn't. Yeah.
I want to go with the Ravens, but they've suffered huge injuries already. It's crazy how many injuries the Ravens suffer every year. J.K. Dobbins is out for the year. The Linderbaum's hurt. Mark Andrews is hurt. And for that reason, I'm going to take the Bengals. I can't imagine they're going to start 0-2. For the Ravens, though, they have really good things going on with the offense. Safe Flowers, really good. And I'm not saying the Chargers drafted the wrong guy with Quentin Johnston because I like him too. But Zay Flowers, wow, that guy can play. But I like the Bengals to cover.
I had a feeling that Chargers were going on a bad trajectory with that when Jeremy Conn, shout out to Jeremy Conn, Baltimore guy, told me in camp, he goes, dude, he looks phenomenal. And I was like,
we knew it
really?
before the draft.
I
We
know.
complained about it. I mean, we said it.
Sucks. Damn it. But all right. We digress. Yeah, if you think I'm betting anything Ravens on spread, you're wrong. It's Bengals for me. I think they honestly can't bounce back though. I think they're pissed off about this. I think that weather was really, really bad against the Browns, and I think that Burrow has a mental hurdle he has to get over with the Browns. Just one of those things where it's a weird divisional thing, and that's why we love divisional games. So I'm going to take Bengals on that. Giants -4 over the embarrassing Arizona Cardinals. I think we're all going to be on the same boat here.
I'm not. I'm not on the same boat as you. I think on this one.
Okay.
I don't like the Giants. I think the Giants are right there as a really, really bad team. I like the Cardinals to cover. What are you going to say, Dave?
No, this is the game not to watch. When you're saying what game do you not want to watch, this is the game. This is a terrible game to watch.
Yeah. So what's your pick?
I tell you what, the game's in Arizona, I assume, because the Giants had a home game last week, right? Am I right on that?
The game's in Arizona. It's in Arizona.
And the Arizona was on the road. The Cardinals surprised me a little bit last week, especially with their situation. I'm going to go. There's no way the Giants do anything close to as bad as what just happened. I'm going to go the Giants bounce back. They were a playoff team a year ago. Arizona's obviously trying to get the first pick in the draft.
I'm with Dave. I think the defense of the Cowboys shocked the Giants to their core. I think they had no idea the ball game they're getting themselves into. When Dak starts, Cowboys dominate the Giants. Dabble's going to rip up a new one. They're going to have a new ass out there, so I think they win that game. Niners are a 7.5-point favorite over the Rams in LA. That's probably going to be a home game for the Niners, if we're going to be honest with all those fans. So what do you guys think here? Niners 7.5-point favorite over the Rams. This is a tough one. I think it's the hardest game to look at.
I'll go first. I think the Rams cover.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry. I think the Rams cover. It's like you just said a second ago. Divisional games are really weird. They play each other obviously 2 times every single year, so they know each other really well. I like the Rams to cover. I don't think the Rams are going to win the game, but I like them to cover.
All right, I tell you what, it's really weird with Sean McVay, right? I mean, if you ask Kyle Shanahan, would you change all your wins? Because remember, the Kyle Shanahan has beaten McVay in every game they've ever gone against each other, except the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. And SoFi Stadium ends up being a 49er home crowd. It's crazy how the 49ers are able to go and turn that entire stadium red. It turns into a home game. McVay can't beat Shanahan during the regular season. I'm going to go Niners. I think the Niners destroy the Rams.
Wow, Niners destroy the Rams. I'm with Josh. It's one of those things, man. It's a divisional game, and the Rams just shocked, I think, almost everyone in the NFL and beat the Seahawks, whooped them. Last week,
They did.
I think Stafford's got a little something more in him. I think McVay has a lot more tricks up his sleeve. The Niners were the best team in football last week, but I don't know. It's just a weird thing where 7.5 is a big, big line. So I'm going to take them to cover with the touchdown cushion. But teaser game. I'm going to tease that. I'm going to tease that. Oh, I'm teasing. I almost made a really inappropriate joke. I'm teasing the hell out of that.
Worse than the Nancy Reagan one? Jeez.
Was that one that bad?
That one? Hitting your mom? I don't know.
The mom one was bad. I love my mom. I love my mom a lot.
Show and tell her.
Yeah, shout out to Lisa. She's a good mother. I've never laid hands on her. All right. She's hit me, though. Let's just go to the next one. It's Jets, Cowboys. Cowboys are 9-point favorites. It was 9.5 at one point now, but it's 9. Dallas Cowboys take on Zach Wilson and the Jets.
I'll go first in this one if you want. I'm gonna go Cowboys. What I find fascinating about the Jets, and I don't know if we said it on this show, but I know I heard it this week. Someone made a great point about the Jets. hey, what does this mean for the Jets? They're going to be fine without Aaron Rodgers. And the point made was, if they're going to be fine without Aaron Rodgers, they would have been fine last year. They're the same crappy Jets. The Dallas Cowboys right now are on cloud nine. They have all the confidence in the world. They're going to stick it to the Jets. They're going to make the Jets make a major decision after this game of, hey, who do we go out and try and get as our next quarterback? Because right now Zach Wilson's not the guy.
Dude, this is really tough, man. I really want to watch this game. I really, really want to watch this game. 8.5. You said Mario was the line?
9. It was 8.5. Now it's 9.
Oh man, I think the Jets defense is too good to get beaten down like that. I don't think Zach Wilson plays well at all. I think the Cowboys win the game, but 9 is insane for a team that might have the best defense in the league. I like the Jets to cover.
Yeah, and no Cooks for the Jets as well. He's on the IR for this game. I'm with you guys. I think it's a really
for the
big
Jets,
number.
Cooks. Wait, you're talking about
Brandon
the
Cooks,
Cowboys?
Yeah,
Cowboys. Okay.
I think the Jets can cover because just dude, their front is crazy good, and like the
Mhm.
Cowboys dominated last week, but like the Cowboys offense, like they've won what like 40-0, which congratulations, great win. But like if you had a point of weakness, it's like your offense didn't look great.
They
I didn't go, oh my god,
No, Dak didn't do anything. Look, all right,
Yeah,
real quick, what's the over under in this game? Now I'm dying to know.
38.5.
I go under. I still go under. I think you guys make really
low.
good points. I think both teams have a really hard time scoring.
Not to mention Sauce can really go like one-on-one with CD now because there's no Cooks on the other side. So it'll be interesting. Another poop game, probably don't want on your TV. Hopefully Red Zone blocks it out. Is the Washington Commanders traveled a Mile High, face the Denver Broncos. Broncos are 3.5-point favorites in this one. Over under 39, another low over under. Josh Palais, what are you doing here, my man?
The first thing is I'm taking the under. The 2 really good defenses. The Broncos again show that they are a great defense, and then the Commanders have a great defensive line. I like the Broncos to win this game. I think Sean Payton is going to get his team together a little bit more. Russell Wilson is a story of 2 halves. He was amazing in the first and not good in the second. So I think the Broncos put it together and get a win.
I'm with Josh. I actually agree on one. I think the Broncos win this game. And cover,
I'm with it. Yeah, win and cover. Howell's on the ground 6 times with the Cardinals. 6. 2 happens with the Broncos on that one. And Mile High, yeah, let's have fun there, buddy. That should be a good time. Bet you're going to wish you're in Chapel Hill still. It's Sunday Night Football. Miami Dolphins go to New England, face the New England Patriots. Dolphins are 3-point favorites, over under 46.5 for people back home. What do you guys think?
You know what I think? I'll go first because Josh knows the 2 quarterbacks. I think it's crazy that Mac Jones back-to-back weeks is facing the guys he was their backup to. You know what I mean? That it's kind of nuts. In college, he was the backup to both Jalen and to Tua, and Mac Jones won a national championship as well. But I think Tua and the Dolphins keep rolling. I understand that Bill Belichick does different things, but man, there's no answer for those wide receivers and that speed. It's amazing how fast that Dolphins team is. I'm drawing a blank right now. Beside Raheem Mostert, who's at the running back they picked up from the 49ers last year?
Jeff Wilson.
Jeff Wilson might be faster than him. I mean, they have like 4 of the fastest guys in the NFL on one side of the ball. It is really fun to watch. Like if you got just playing around, if you got a Dolphins 49er Super Bowl, that's crazy athletes on the field at the same time. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
And
Jeff Wilson's out for this game. He's on injured reserve.
He's out. I'm just saying at some point of the season, he gets back into the offense. If you have the Patriots roster, which I think is one of the worst in the NFL compared to the Dolphins, one of the best head coaching wise, hell, who knows? We might have 2 geniuses on the field. I'm still going to go with Dolphins on the road.
Yeah, I'm with Dave on this. I don't think the Patriots have a good enough offense to go toe for toe with the Dolphins and what they have going. I know the Chargers defense is abysmal, but they're not as bad as they showed. The Dolphins are just really, 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 really good on offense, and I think they put up a lot of points. And like I said, I don't think the Patriots have a good enough offense to go toe for toe with them.
New England Patriots +3. Give it to me.
Really? You going on Mac Jones' side? Shocking.
I think, which sucks. I'm not a Mac Jones believer, but I think on Sunday Night Football, And that defense looked strong against the Eagles. That defense looked strong. They held their own. I think Bill's going to scheme up a little something to at least keep it within 3. I don't think the Pats are going to win this game at all. I think Dolphins still win. It's going to be like a inside a 3-point game. This is a huge teaser leg, actually. Talk about another tease by some points. But yeah, I think it's Pats. I think the defense can put up enough of a fight, and they can make it ugly enough where they cover the 3.
How crazy would it be for Sunday Night Football if the Dolphins just completely, blew the wheels right off the Patriots, where they had back-to-back weeks of people just turning the TV off? I mean, the advertising that is charged for Sunday Night Football, it's the highest rated game of the week every week. And then it go Cowboys Giants was a disaster, and then if it happened back-to-back weeks, would be amazing. I'd love to see Bill Belichick just get drilled back to. I mean, at home, just and completely destroyed.
Whoa,
yeah, whoa.
Bet you would.
I don't want to see that.
I don't even know what that means.
I'll set on that one.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. All right. Well, Saints 3-point favorites versus the Panthers. Two Monday night games, guys. In case you forgot.
I did forget. What the hell's going on?
Freedom.
That only did that week 1. All right. First of all, I'll go first with this one too. I'm gonna go Saints. This is one of those locks. If I was doing a lock game, Saints will take care of the Panthers. Panthers absolutely terrible. I mean, honestly, even if you hate Bryce Young, you gotta feel bad for Bryce Young. Panthers are a terrible team.
What's the spread on this?
3.
Oh yeah, that's a lock. Saints.
It's a lock.
I'm Saints too. That just defense versus Young on a primetime game.
Oh, that poor
that
kid.
Sucks for literally poor kid. I mean, throw him a bone. Jesus. Browns 2.5-point favorite versus the Steelers. What do we think?
Where's it at?
Pittsburgh.
I like the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers get embarrassed 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, you don't do that to Mike Tomlin. I'm going Steelers as well. I know where he's going. He's going Browns. I can see it in your face. You're going Browns, aren't you?
I wrote down Browns.
You love the
Steelers.
Are you really? You love the Browns this year?
I do know. Okay, love's a strong word, but I like them. I think they're more talented than people give them credit for.
They are, but they're the Browns. That's what they do.
They're the Browns.
Yeah.
They're the Browns. And Mike Tomlin, it's hard to bet against. All right, the real game, Chargers. So it was at 3. Now it's down to 2.5-point favorite Chargers. Over under 45.5. Gentlemen, what do we think happens in this game?
Okay, I'll go first. I think I'm just going to act like DeAndre Hopkins isn't going to play. So I would take the under on the 45, and I like the Chargers to cover, which means it's not going to happen. So I'll take the Chargers in this game. I would not, if I wasn't a fan, I would not bet on this game at all. This is one of those games I definitely would not touch because I'm not confident in this. But I like the Chargers cover.
I'm going Chargers as well. Not even a hometown pick. I'm going Chargers. I think this is a lock game. And I know
Why do you think it's a lock game? Dude, you can't say it's a lock against Mike Vrabel at home.
I do. I just think talent for talent. Obviously
we said that last week.
No, last week I told him Miami. Hold on, but last week I told him Miami and the Chargers were the 2 most talented teams in the NFL, and they did score the most amount of points, and it was the best game of the week.
How can you say it's a lock?
I'm telling you,
you just said Brandon Staley should be fired, and you said it's a lock.
It's a lock. I'm telling you, the Chargers win. Then Brandon Staley should get fired if he can't handle a lock. I'm telling you right now, the Titans' entire team stinks, man. There are only 3 guys basically that any other team would want. There are 3 guys: Jeffrey Simmons, Derrick Henry, and Hopkins. And I do believe Hopkins is going to play. That I'm telling you, the Chargers should sit there and have no problems with the Tennessee Titans. This is a perfect game for the Chargers for the fact the Titans offense isn't scary. And as bad as the Charger defense is, they don't have to worry about this Titan team. They're going to cover.
I'm taking Dave's side right here. I'm with Dave. I think this is a game. I know, Josh, it sucks. I'm sorry. But
it's all right.
I really do think the awful secondary of the Titans is going to help this Charger team bounce back in such a big way. 305 yards to Derek Carr. 305 yards. Worst passing defense in the league last year. I think this is a game where on Monday morning, Herbert's back in MVP conversation. Herbert's back in Offensive Player of the Year conversation. Herbert's back in a top 3 QB conversation. This is a game where we leave and we go, God, Herbert's invincible. Herbert's a man. He is amazing. He deserves all the money every single time that we gave to him this past offseason. I think this is a big game for him. I think it's a big game for the Chargers to bounce back, especially at 2.5. I would take the Chargers. I would take Herbert's over pass yards of 279.5. It's Herbert's game. Kellen Moore, this is when you open up the playbook. Ekeler's not going to play. I get it, but it's air raid, air raid, air raid. It's going to be a tough day for the Titans secondary, and I think Chargers can come out with a win.
All right, let's make it clear here. I did pick the Chargers to cover. I just didn't think it was going to be a blowout, like Dave said. Do you think it's going to be a blowout, Mario?
No, I think this is like a 4-point victory.
I say 10 point.
If you had to do like sometimes you can bet on like the margin of victory, I would go like 4 to like 7, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you on that. Here's your stat of or trivia question, whatever you want to call it, of the day. The Titans have held their last 8 opponents under 100 yards rushing. How many of those games have they won?
All of them.
Go, Dave. Well, they lost
0.
Yeah, they lost last week, so can't be all of them. They lost. They've lost every single game that they've done that. The last 8 games where they've held their opponents under 100 rushing yards, they've lost every game. So there you go.
There you go.
All right. Yeah. So we're going to be back Sunday after the Charger Titan game. Again, it's an early game if you're watching on the West Coast. And then, of course, we're going to give our opinion on what happened. Hopefully, we're in a good mood because it kind of sucked last week, went off to a bad start. Thank you again for listening on the Odyssey app. Again, the Bolt City podcast can be heard on the Odyssey app, also on YouTube. Really appreciate you watching on YouTube as well and leaving comments. Subscribe, as Mario screams all the time. That's exactly what we want you to do. Leave comments. We enjoy the comments as well. But we'll be back on Sunday talking about the Chargers-Titans game and basically breaking down week 2. We'll see you next time. For Mario Heron, Josh Pello, I'm Dave Pelle.
Subscribe.